What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. It's been about 1 year since Firewall Dragon has been banned, and boy is the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Far better off without it. But looking at the current Forbidden Limited list and the metagame, the next ban list is not going to fix Yu-Gi-Oh! In the way that you may want it. Milan has just wrapped up, and we have back-to-back YCSs with Sky Striker Orcust winning. Both of those terms are decks that have been around for some time, but not really combined together. They're filling in for each other's weaknesses, as Sky Striker has been hit on the list many times, but has been somewhat purposely kept around. And Orcust has evolved from this offensive OTK deck to this back and forth deck, and they really, in this control-like format, meld together very well. When we look at Orcust, yes, you can theorize that Konami is going to go ahead and finally hit it. Konami's done selling Orcust on a lot of the fronts. Dingirsu's the only card really to reprint besides Orchestrated Return, which they skipped in Soul Fusion, and has just recently really bumped up in price after the last ban list. And the rest of the deck is insanely cheap. They've hollow bumped a lot of it. And then you come to Sky Strikers. They've given reprint to reprint after reprint on this, and they're done selling it, so they can hit it. But if you hit both of these decks, does that solve everything for you? You're finally happy? Oh wait, you're complaining about decks that have been around a while. You're complaining about feeling like Yu-Gi-Oh! Stale, like you're not getting to play against new things and do new things. How long has Salmon Great been around? A long time. Even though it's a structure deck, more of a budget deck, it's starting to get that Domain Monarch feeling of you're tired of playing against it, even watered down. It's in this current metagame, and definitely would become even more successful if Orcust and Sky Striker hit. Are we going to just toss that on the ban list as well? Do something more to go ahead and do something more to Salmon Great? We have Pure Thunder and Combo Thunder both doing very well. Many people were surprised that Thunder didn't receive any kind of direct hit. They went more for the Dragon engine with Guard Dragons, Weaver Buster, Collapser, and those kind of things. Well, yeah, Pure Thunder's still an option, and Combo Thunder has evolved thanks to Safer Dragon, so you have the ability to still go Diablosis, rip from your hand, and I'm gonna go ahead and Levianeer, rip from your hand. Did you have a Nibiru? No? Alright, I'm gonna take everything down, and a lot of people are choosing to go with this variant of Thunder for the power it offers, versus, hey, did you draw the Nibiru? And even being able to play through Nibiru at times. Then we have True Draco. It's been around forever. You have it combined with Sky Striker right now, so yes, it would definitely weaken if Sky Striker's gone, but True Draco would still be around. Best deck ever! 20 negates! I'm throwing everything on the board! Even without the Guard Dragon engine, is still getting its rogue top here and there. So my point here is, when we look at the list, how many decks do we have to hit for new decks, brand new decks, to rise to the top? Well, there's also Guru Control, isn't there? Consistently you see a player with this towards the top tables at events. Altergeist, DZ, topping a couple here and there. Extra copies of Multi-Faker were holding him back, in his own words. And another duelist recently topped with the Altergeist as well. It's just that these new decks that Konami's printing are not doing enough. They're very exciting conceptually, they do brand new things, and they seem good on paper, yet they just don't apply themselves into the metagame. When we look at Unchained, it struggles with its consistency issues and ability to perform, and there's just better forms of True Draco. People find pure True Draco better, and they don't have to stand on the legs of the Unchained. Marincess, there's just something clunky about it, and yes, while it does battle-based really cool tricks, it just can't hit through. There's better ways to OTK in this game and also hold control boards. They just don't cut it right now. Dragon Maids, this is the ultimate waifu tax. They're just going up and up and up in price with this waifu tax, and they don't perform. They're not doing it. And yes, it's only been a couple weeks. They're not gonna do it. Spoilers. They're just gonna continue to struggle and climb and claw and do nothing at locals level even. We see older decks have better engines, more consistency, and it feels like Konami, out of the new sets, has pulled away from wanting to actually print things that are good. It's so weird. Like, they're interesting, they're unique, but they know they're not packing the punch. Konami has tested these. They've thrown these in the water, so to speak, there. So how many decks, not only between the top decks, but also Rogue, do we have to do on this ban list to shape up a new meta where new decks are good, and you don't get the feeling 2 weeks after the list of, oh, I've already been playing against Guru Control forever. Oh, I can't believe Invoked is back up top. Some of you guys would be happy for that, but I guarantee after 2 weeks, oh, the 5th death by Purgatrio, just piercing through everything and attacking your entire board, you'll start to feel it, you know, a little bit when we look through these decks. Like, it's not a new deck. We look at Magical Muskets. Actually, they got an update with a Link monster, and it's nice to see them start to pierce the top cut. I've been playing against this a lot on Dueling Books, so I kind of saw this coming within the metagame, but still, like, it's something familiar. It's something that's older, that's finally getting its time. It took this long. Addeception once topped the UDS with this, and now it took this long of a gap in a Link monster to get there after all the hype. Infernoids stealing one top 4 after another, and this deck is always such a killer. Eric Christensen taking down a YCS, what, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that at this point with this deck. So this is just something that's been lurking in the shadows. They got an update by Lair. Yes, it plays barely different. You're still Void Feasting. You're still doing all the crazy stuff. Like, it just isn't going to feel refreshing to be playing these decks, because after 2 weeks, there's that familiarity. There's that feeling that you've played against hat format way back in the past, and some duelists are newer. They haven't played against these formats. It'll be relatively new to them, but how different does it feel playing against something like Trap Tricks than Altergeist, a trap control back row deck? How different is this from Guru Control? Kevin Bortle, a Team Bortle here, actually taking a win at a regional with this deck, and I could see it popping up in the meta before many of the newer decks, because it's popping up in this current metagame. That's what's really interesting. Like, Mathmex, so almost there. This is one of the decks that I think a Banlist could allow in if we get this huge 50 card update, but how many decks do you have to slaughter to balance the board to let the new decks forward? Konami needs to be printing better sets, better decks. Stop being scared to give some power broken cards. We need the next deck that fits right in. You don't even have to nuke the current meta to make a lot of people happy. What you need to do is print a new deck that fits right in and doesn't murder everything, creating tier 0. Maybe even make it to where only 3 or 4 decks challenge it and you still get that rogue spread. But you need a deck that just had one more power card or one less restriction, or, you know, something there for them. Spiral Double Helix fixed spirals, but way too powerful, way too far for all the resources they had together. We need a more balanced version of that for many of these rogue decks that are just floundering, that are almost there, that just didn't quite make it. Now, there is a huge update coming to the game, but it's not the ban list. It's in the future, and that's Dual Overload, and it feels like Konami wants to go out of Link Summoning with a big bang. We get Needle Fiber, which has been held back from us for so long, so the next list may even rob us of spots from the current decks towards things like Glow Up Bulb. But I also theorize they could wait until April. They went ahead and did it though. Like, they already took care of cards for Needle Fiber. They banned Dandelion, so I think we will see spots robbed on either the January list or very soon after on an April to May list for the NAWCQ/other WCQs. Like, we'll see list spot robbed for cards dealt out of this pack. We're getting a 30 link update, many imports, and a lot of stuff that, you know, we haven't seen over here in the TCG. So that's very exciting. That's a big change. That will definitely cause people to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A different way. We have the Shadol Structure deck coming up with an update, but nothing exciting enough to really get people off their feet and even go for the Shadol cards that hard, like Shadol Dinosaurs. There's another rogue engine. Dinosaurs are floating around in top cuts right now. You would have to hit so many freaking decks to make the new decks good that it's not even funny. So where Konami has been failing is their core product, their core updates. Agnister, out the gate, really doesn't do enough. It comes close again, and its second update, I start to feel it. I start to root for it. I just feel like Konami needs to look at what they're printing rather than what they're hitting over here. And that's why the top decks are lasting so long. Even with their hits, even with them being weakened and the other ones rising back up. Like, we had our time without Solomon Great for a bit, it came back. You're going to have these continuous flares of all these familiar old decks until until you start building better decks in our core sets. But that's how I feel about it, and please don't root for Masterpiece back on the ban list. Every single one of these discussions, one of you guys are in the comment section. Whenever it's on the screen, don't do it. But what do you guys think of this discussion, and do you think there is a way the ban list actually levels so many, and how many cards would have to be hit to do it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the discussion, and Cyber Monday is coming to note, so there is a huge sale on TCG Player at least, so use my description down below, or the link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly if you are going to be shopping this. I'm hoping for a big number here, double digits please, on the % off from TCG Player. Thanks for watching, everybody.